So two groups of characters who show up in the Gospels over and over again are the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they correspond to two different groups who were known in ancient Judaism of Jesus' time. The Pharisees were largely popular teachers of the law of Israel. When we see them in the Gospels, they're usually out in the countryside or the small towns. They're not as much around Jerusalem. Like Jesus, they believed in the resurrection of the dead. And we see them in the Gospels having arguments with Jesus, accusing Jesus of not observing the law of Moses. The Sadducees seem to be more based in Jerusalem, where the temple was, and more plugged into the priesthood and the power structures of Jerusalem and Judea. When we encounter the Sadducees, they also tend to oppose Jesus, but they tend to do it in and around the temple in Jerusalem. And one of the issues is that they don't believe in the resurrection. Each gospel treats the Pharisees and the Sadducees a little bit differently. For example, in Luke, on 3 occasions, Pharisees invite Jesus to eat with them. And on one occasion, the Pharisees warn Jesus that King Herod is out to kill him. So we don't get the same picture in all of the Gospels of them. The other thing we should know is that the way the Pharisees and the Sadducees come across in the Gospels might not be that much like how they were perceived in their own world. That is to say, the Gospels have their reasons for making the Pharisees and Sadducees look a certain way. They're opponents of Jesus, they're hypocritical, they're self-centered. The Pharisees love money, Luke tells us. But that's not how they were remembered by their contemporaries. One final thing to know about these groups is, if we were really interested in the Pharisees, there's only one Pharisee from the New Testament period whose writing has survived, and that's the Apostle Paul. So for historians of Judaism, Paul is an incredibly important voice, just like he is for those of us who are reading the New Testament.